Are you a little bit too comfortable with God? My name is Nate Carter, and this is today's Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional. And today we're in Luke chapter 7, and we find a situation where people come to grips with who God really is as he stands before them in human flesh in the form of Jesus. Look with me at Luke chapter 7, beginning with verse 11. It says, "Soon afterward Jesus went with his disciples to the village of Nain, and a large crowd followed him. A funeral procession was coming out as he approached the village gate. The young man who had died was a widow's only son, and a large crowd from the village was with her. When the Lord saw her, his heart overflowed with compassion. 'Don't cry,' he said. Then he walked over to the coffin and touched it, and the bearers stopped. 'Young man,' he said, 'I tell you, get up.'" He's speaking to a corpse right now. "Young man, get up." Then the dead boy sat up and began to talk, and Jesus gave him back to his mother. This is an amazing experience. Imagine if you're at a funeral, you're walking the coffin to the burial plot where it's about to be put into the ground, and this man walks up, touches the coffin, and then begins speaking to the corpse inside. "Young man, get up." Imagine how you'd feel in that situation. Sometimes we become so accustomed to the accounts in the Bible of what Jesus can do that we forget to put ourselves in the place of those who would be observing this and imagine what it would have been like. Imagine, you've probably been to a funeral, if not several, and imagine if not only some stranger walked up and started talking to the dead person, but then the person began to sit up and suddenly was alive again. I think that once you put yourself in the context of that, you can understand the next verse, verse 16. "Great fear swept the crowd, and they praised God, saying, 'A mighty prophet has risen among us, and God has visited his people today.' And the news about Jesus spread throughout Judea and the surrounding countryside." I think that if that happened in my midst, that would be my reaction, would be, whoa, what just happened? This man has power to speak to the dead and raise them from the dead. I think that one of the real problems in contemporary Christian culture is that we've become a little bit too cozy with God, a little bit too comfortable. We forget to revere God for his capacity, for what he is capable of doing. And that's what these people just came face to face with. I don't know about you, but I walk into church on a Sunday morning and there's not much fear in my mind, right? I'm coming into the presence of the Lord. I know the songs, I know the people, I'm comfortable in my chair, and I'm gonna sit back and experience the worship time together and the sermon. But then when we realize the capacity of our God, what he's capable of doing, this is the God that can touch a coffin, speak to a corpse, and raise it from the dead. This is the same God who can raise his own son from the dead after allowing all the sins of the world to be placed on his shoulders. This is the God who's got command over the wind and the waves. This is the God who gives me life and breath and has the capacity to take it away from me at the same time. This is the fear that we're supposed to have before God. Now, I've heard it explained in sermons throughout my years that when they're talking about fear, the fear of the Lord, that you're not really supposed to be afraid of God. But I think that you're supposed to be just a little bit afraid of God. Not that we're afraid of what he might do to us out of his capriciousness, because he's not that way, but rather what he's capable of. This is the God, nothing can stop the power of our God. And when we come to grips with that, then we get a little bit better understanding of who it is that we're worshiping when we come in on a Sunday morning to come before the presence of the Lord. I think a little bit of awe and fear and trembling is appropriate. Proverbs says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, because when you realize the capacity and the authority and the power that our God wields, then you begin to put everything else in perspective. Then you are able to have true wisdom. So my encouragement to you today, this week, perhaps the next time that we see you on a Sunday morning, is to recognize in whose presence you stand. This is the God of the universe that you're worshiping. This is the God that holds life in his very hand, who's going to be coming again one day in the form of Jesus to bring his people back to him. This is the God that we worship. A little bit of holy fear is warranted. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.